Hey guys, it's Tisha Rowe. If you are new to my page, I am a family medicine physician in Houston, Texas, and I am here to share my thoughts on back to school. Interestingly enough, I wrote a blog on my thoughts for back to school on July 10th, and I never posted the blog. I wrote it, I put my ideas on paper, and never got around to publishing it. And now here we are. Many children are back to school. My son is not going back to school until September virtually, October in person, possibly. We may just homeschool for the entire semester. But I just want to share my thoughts as a physician on school reopening. I think one thing we learned very quickly when COVID started is that our failure to anticipate problems led to widespread outbreaks and shutdowns. I think we're approaching back to school with the same blissful ignorance, and a shutdown is very likely in the near future that could be completely avoidable. I'm recording this video because I am confident I'm going to come back to this and say, I told you so. Okay. Number one on my list was, these are my 10 thoughts on back to school opening. Number one, all schools should have virtual options. If a parent is a stay-at-home parent or has the job flexibility to homeschool, no one should be forced to send their child back to school. I interviewed a college student for University of Houston today for a marketing internship, and she said she was not surprised. She still had no idea what the expectations are of her in terms of back to school. She's not heard from her professor. She has no idea if she has to go back in person, and she does not want to go back in person. And she starts school next week. How is it that a student is starting school next week and has no idea if they have to go back in person? Smaller children, I can almost understand why in person is sometimes required. Many of them lack the attention span, and parents don't all have the time to help kids get set up. A college student, you cannot tell me one class in college that I took that I couldn't have taken on TV. So the fact that we're willing to put college students at risk for this experience, to me, is worrisome. And I think we're setting ourselves up for round two. Okay. I think college should have been online. Dorm rooms, we already know one of the most severe diseases we see in college students is meningitis, and a part of the way it spreads is due to the close contact of dormitories. How are dormitories set up? Your roommate is arm's length away. So we're sending our kids back to dorms where another person is arm length away, and inevitably they're going to want to go out and socialize and meet new friends. Okay, number one, virtual training. Number two, are we training substitute teachers now, right? Do we have an adequate substitute teacher workforce? I commend the teachers, I believe it was Arizona, who all called in sick on the first day. And it's a shame they had to do that. But the fact of the matter is, in a few weeks, we're going to have teachers out sick. And who is going to come in and replace them? So before the teachers get sick and get sent home, why aren't we training? And maybe it's happening and I'm unaware. I'm not in education, I'm in healthcare. But all of these people who've been getting unemployment for the past few months, we should be training those, especially those who we know have had COVID in the last month and probably have antibodies or protected, to be substitute teachers. It's a great opportunity, and we need an entire second line workforce for teachers so that if they are gone, they do not feel pressured if they're sick to rush back to work. Three, Every school needs a quarantine classroom. What does that mean? Every single school is going to have a COVID case. When that student gets sick during school, where are you going to put them? When the parent doesn't answer the phone to pick up the child, when the parent is at work and cannot come get the child, and now you have a child with a fever in class, you're going to send them to the nurse's office? So you're going to give the nurse COVID, right? You need a quarantine classroom for any child that develops symptoms of COVID during the school day, where you have them there, you have appropriate PPE, you have appropriate separation until they can be picked up. Recommendation 4, on-site testing. No school should reopen without having every parent sign a waiver. You have permission to test my child for COVID if they develop symptoms. Because by the time you send a child home, the parent finds a pediatrician appointment, takes them to the pediatrician. How many people have they potentially affected or infected, right? You should be testing those children for COVID, rapid testing, follow-up PCR on site the minute they develop testing symptoms. 5, mobile schools. What do I mean mobile schools versus homeschool? As a healthcare professional, I have to go to work. So prioritize for healthcare professionals who may not be able to exercise the virtual learning option to have mobile school. In my neighborhood, I'm sure there are probably 5 other parents who want to homeschool their child in my child's grade level, but they may not have the time or resources. At the same time, there are teachers who don't want to go back into these packed, ill-prepared classrooms. Send the teachers out into the community to teach small classrooms in the home. That's mobile school, right? It doesn't have to be 16 or 30 kids in a classroom. You're forcing this, claim you have social distancing. I have an empty room right there, supposed to be my workout room. You can have a small classroom chasing 3 other children, much more, much safer than sending them into a classroom with a dozen other students. And forget it, lunchtime, cafeteria time, every child is going to take off their mask to eat in school. Game over, okay? Number 6, mandatory testing. The fact that kids are not being required to be tested prior to returning to school just is another example of us being ignorant to the facts, okay? Scenario, first day of school, a classroom with 15 children. 1 child has COVID. If you required mandatory both back to school testing, you would know that 1 child had COVID. You would not allow them to return to school, and you would prevent those other 15 kids from getting infected. Instead, that 1 child in the first week of school is going to infect all 15 of their classmates, whether they touch each one or they touch pencils or they pick their nose or whatever. They're going to affect them all. So the fact that we're willing to send kids laptops, but we're not willing to test every child, is just a example of capitalism in America, and someone's profiting from those laptops. If we have money for laptops, every child should be tested. I asked Chase today, can I trust you to keep your mask on in school? He said, after a couple hours, Mommy, I'm taking it off. Out of the mouth of babes. And I guarantee you he's being honest, and he's not the only one. Recommendation number 7, mandate virtual working. I was listening to a podcast today where an employer was clearly proud that they reopened before everyone else. Now, I bet he has healthcare insurance, and I bet he's not worried whether or not his employees have health insurance when he's bragging, oh, we opened in May and yada yada yada, while he's protected health insurance, time off, security. The employees being required to come back do not have those same luxuries. Single moms like me without family, if we get sick, our kids could end up in CPS. So if an employee can work virtually. Corporations should be mandated that they have to allow employees to work virtually unless it is required they physically show up to do their job. You can't be a virtual construction worker, okay? You can't be a virtual, unless you're doing telemedicine, doctor, but you can't be a virtual surgeon, right? There's some jobs you have to show up whether you want to or not, but there are a lot of other jobs where you don't have to, where people are simply sitting at a desk, and because we refuse to change our mindset about the way work is performed, and but mostly because we don't trust people, right? We don't trust that they'll go sit at home and actually do the work we want them to do. That is why we require people to come in. Mandate virtual working for corporations. The same way we make them cover healthcare for 50 or more employees, the same way we mandate they pay taxes, virtual working should not be optional. 8, open in phases. Why are all the kids going back to school on the same day? Why isn't kindergarten going on week 1, first grade week 2, second grade week 3? Why do it that way? Let's think about the way COVID is spread. If you open the school in phases and there's an outbreak, you have a opportunity to contain the problem before it becomes widespread. All grades use the same bathroom. All grades use the same cafeteria. In fact, my son's old school opened in phases during regular times. So why are schools sending everyone back at once, increasing the likelihood of infections? Recommendation number 9, where it is possible, classroom cameras. I assure you that students will be more likely to be compliant, and the teachers will be more likely to enforce, which I do think they will be enforcing anyway, but put cameras in the classroom. And if a student repeatedly removes their mask despite recommendations from the teacher not to do so, then sorry parent, you need to homeschool your child because they're a problem. And unfortunately, some school students may have issues where they can't. What if the child has autism? You know, what if there's something else going on, and then they can't keep it on. But if you have classroom cameras, you'll identify, and if there's an infection, you're more likely to identify where the issue came up. Last but not least, recommendation number 10, we need to move, and I think in general it would be better to college format for school for those who can afford it, who can maintain it. So for me, I am extremely anxious about sending Chase back to school, but I would be more comfortable with him going Monday, Wednesday, Friday with a smaller classroom and another set of students Tuesday, Thursday. Maybe they have longer days and the Monday, Wednesday, Friday have shorter days since they're going more days of the week. And maybe you could do the older kids Tuesday, Thursday, younger kids Monday, Wednesday, Friday. However you do it, if you split up the school into 2 schedules, then the classrooms will be less full. All right, that's it. Letitia Rowe, family medicine physician, Houston, Texas, representing doctors worldwide. The app right now. Thank you for tuning in, Dr. Washington out in Nevada. And I just wanted to share, these are my recommendations. No, I'm not a politician. I am not on the school board. I'm just a mom and a doctor, and I am a problem solver, and I see an issue that's coming, and I hope that we can do better. And maybe there are examples of these things out there. If you have ideas, I got a great email from Devon Franklin. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how many followers you have. It does not matter how many likes are on your post. If God puts a purpose in you, share your thoughts, share your ideas. You are powerful and you can make a difference, okay? And I want to say thank you to all my TikTok supporters. Last I checked, I was at about 4,000 views for a video I put up about an hour ago. So if you're not following me on TikTok, that's where I have fun. That's where I let my hair down. Check out my latest video. If you watch it, drop a comment so that I know you watched it and so I can follow you back also. If you want to book an appointment with me, I only see patients in Texas. Go to Rowe Docs, www.rowedocs.com. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can follow me on all platforms at Tisha, Tisha, Rowe, ROWEMD. Hope to connect soon. Again, just my 2 cents. You all have a great night. And to all the parents and all the students going back to school, good luck. Prayers up. God bless you.